Hello and welcome back to another episode of WTSF, where I answer questions from r/Street Fighter with in-game examples. I find the common themes for the week on Reddit, you vote for which ones you'd like to see most, and then answer questions based on that theme. This week what you'd like to see most is effective practice in Street Fighter 5. This actually appears every single time pretty much in the polls and never gets voted for. So well done on everyone who's seizing this opportunity to take some time and practice. If you'd like to take part in these, I put this poll up every week on a Friday. If you follow @BehindTheWires or @TheHairFGC, you can take part. Question 1, we've got Top Priest and user LuigiFan103, brilliant name. And they're both having issues with inputs. So let's jump into the game and see what we can learn about inputs in practice mode. Now, if you're finding that you're dropping things in games, one of the first things that you should do is remember what those things are and then take them into practice mode. And if you pause practice mode, you'll see that 5 down on the first screen here, you've got key display. And if you switch key display on, you can see there on the left-hand side, we've got all of the inputs that we're pressing, whether that's directions or buttons. If I put in a really sloppy critical art input and it doesn't come out, and he just throws out a chop, I can see here that I missed a down forward. There was also an unnecessary down back in there. Now I know that's something I need to work on. Likewise, I can see accidental EX inputs. Common advice is to practice 10 times in a row on each side and see what your inputs look like on the ones that you're dropping until you get 10 in a row where you haven't dropped it. Another thing in practice mode to look out for is your combo counter. You'll see that reset to 0, or you'll have fewer inputs if you've actually missed something there as well. Next question from Sing95. Need advice on how to practice single hit confirming. So one of the first things you want to do if you're practicing single hit confirms is head to the second menu on here and set guard to random. And what this means is the opponent will randomly block. Practicing things like your Tenko confirm, you're looking for a blue light or an orange light there on your crouching medium kick. There are other things that you can use for hit detection, such as the life bar. If you'll see there on the top right, we get quite a big chunk or a very small chunk. You'll see a red light or a grey light there, depending on hit or block. Another place you can look is their V-trigger build-up, but the most popular one is probably the stun bar at the top because it will not move when they block, so you will see movement or no movement. Now another thing to look at is if you actually go back to that random block and change it to after first attack. Now you can see how late it can be input as well. This means if you're quick enough, you'll land it. Then you want to slow it down until you find that point where it starts to get blocked. And then it's a matter of taking that back as late as you can without that block taking over. And what you've done there is actually find the largest cancel window possible for you to react to. Seeing how late in the dash you can input that final punch. And from then with after first attack on, you can keep practicing that muscle memory. So yeah, some of these things in practice mode will require more than one part of practice mode. You'll get the most out of your training sessions if you pick the right tools for the job. Next from Cubex2, beginner question about Ryu's combo. So this question's asking how you cancel a dragon punch into a critical art quickly. Now we've covered the DP bit before. This is a matter of finding a shortcut from a normal to a DP, and a shortcut from a normal DP into a critical art. In short, instead of going from 3 HP into 623 HP into 236 236 HP, you will input 3 HP, 23 HP, 6236 HP. So you remove a number of inputs there to make it much shorter and make the cancel window as big as possible for you. That said, one thing that will help you in training mode, other than being able to look at your inputs, is setting up something here in the shortcut settings called Restart Battle. If you switch that to on, say you accidentally do the fireball into the critical art like that, you can cancel out of it with an assigned button into a neutral state, making practicing that so much quicker because you don't have to just keep watching the critical art over and over and over again. One other useful option in the shortcut settings for critical arts is this save status and replay save status at the bottom here. Say you wanted to understand what kind of oki you got in the corner of your critical art, you'd be able to actually click save, and now using another assign button you can immediately trigger their -21 quick rise frames over and over and over again. We don't have to watch the full animation. We can now reset that scenario and see what buttons, what timing can force that blocking straight away without having to watch that animation over and over and over again. So there's at least 2 good tools from that one as well. Next up from Matthew, I'm looking for set play and meaty setups for Seth. So let's show you how to work out what options you've got without looking at the frame data. So, using the Recall Wake Up Actions option and the Set Wake Up Actions option, we have asked Akuma to do his fastest move on Wake Up, and we've also set him to normal recovery. So if we suspect that we've got some kind of Oki option off this crouching heavy punch, for example, we can now follow up and try some different moves and see which ones we can intercept with. Seeing there that a medium punch, which is quite a slow button, is able to get a guaranteed counter hit on them if they're using the 3 frame. And now if we set them to a 4 frame move instead, we're still getting that counter hit, so we can consider that a universal option that's going to cover 3 frame and 4 frame characters. However, now if we set them to back recovery, we actually lose out unless we delay it. So this is another example of being able to develop your character without having to necessarily learn the frame data. Still recommend you do learn frame data, it's a much faster way to get around all of these things. But there is a lot of classic experimentation that you can do in this fighting game to get to know your options. Last question by Rework OC, welcome back, is help working out how to get around constant command grabs. So using some of the techniques that we've picked up already, we can set Mika to playback recording. We can set up a classic example of Mika dashing up and just doing the same command grab on you over and over and over again. Delay rising for starters. We can also backdash. And we can also jump out of them. So training mode isn't just about practicing things over and over again, it's also about rehearsal and knowing how to deal with different scenarios. So by knowing the right tools, you can turn something from a practice tool into a rehearsal tool where you can actually use it for really practical things and get a lot more out of training mode than just practicing combos. And that is it for another week on WTSF. Thanks as always to r/Street Fighter for being a great place to host these kind of things. Jump on there if you have questions of your own, and they might end up in a video like this at a later date.